All right, everybody, we
Hey.
can tell time.
Wow.
So we were just chit-chatting about airline travel, and I'm like, hey, we're past due.
Unreal. We're new at this.
Yeah, it's our first time running a podcast show.
Holy
So anyway, welcome to the Q&A show with Alan and Marshall. I'm Marshall Atkinson,
I'm Alan Howe with Easiway.
and we're so happy you're here. And maybe we'll be a little more focused today for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Anyway, Alan, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm actually doing very good. I'm excited about Printing United coming up.
Wait, there's another show?
There is another show,
What's it called?
Printing United. Yeah.
I'm just teasing. I know all about it. But
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. A lot going on. So yeah, some things could be scary. Some things you just keep going, man, and we'll see how it is. Where are the opportunities at?
So Richard's here. Hello from Michigan.
Yep.
And
Hey,
I want
Richard.
to give a special shout out to Richard Greaves, the man.
The myth, the
Sat in
legend.
for me on Tuesday on my Shirt Lab call. He sat in for Allie on Thursday for her Shirt Lab call for our Q&A stuff. He is the best. So
He has filled in for me on this show
appreciate it.
1,000 times at last minute. He's filled in for me 1,000 times on this, and sometimes at last minute.
Yeah, he is awesome, and we really appreciate him. And I'm sure he's all blushing and stuff right now.
He is. He's going to sign out in a minute. And you know what? For me, my career, Richard, has been a supporter, a fan, and when I started speaking and stuff, to have what I tease him as the Richard Greaves, supporting me and helping me, man, that you can't put a price on it.
Yeah, you can't. And so we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yep, and we do that because, man, Richard, we were just talking about you on that same stuff. So, yep.
So anyway, it's been a good week, and I got the weekend rolling in, and October starts Sunday. Q4 starts Sunday.
Wow.
I mean, it doesn't seem like this year has just flown by like Mach 7. I don't know what happened.
It has flown by. I've talked to a bunch of manufacturers and stuff, and it's just been a weird year. Some parts are great, and some parts are what the heck. But that's what it is. We had
it's been a weird year, and my business is Feast or Famine.
Yeah.
And it's been a little slow when I thought it was going to be busy, and it's been really busy when I thought it was going to be slow. And like this month, September, I'm way over my sales goal for September. Who knew, right? And
I'm under for September. I was way over last month, and some of that is cycle when it's dealers and stuff. But yeah,
it's just odd, and I don't know if it's the economy or what's going on, or my marketing. I know I'm doing some different things, and like my Mid-Journey newsletter, I'm starting to get a lot of subscribers to that, which is certainly helping my bottom line. So certainly happy, right? And anyway, so Ray's here. Good seeing you, Ray.
Hey, Ray.
And he says his is Feast and Famine, and all of a sudden he slammed. Yeah, exactly.
Ray, are you going to Printing United? Are you going to be able to make it?
Let's hope so.
I hope so.
All right. And by the way, Printing United, we're supposed to have our normal slot in the podcast area. That hasn't been confirmed, but that's what we requested. So we'll see what happens. And as soon as we know, we'll be advertising about that. And so our goal, by the way, is to, from what I understand, they're going to have seating in front of the podcast area. And what we want to do is, if you're there, we want you to come by, and we'll have like a live show like Phil Donahue or Oprah or something.
Absolutely.
And we'll have lots of fun doing it. And hopefully we can get the tech worked out to do that, right? So
hopefully we can bring up the
Shirt Lab New Orleans. And so I know the gear works. Getting the gear working there is going to be the tricky part.
Always.
So anyway, Richard says he'll be there. Ray says not at the moment unless travel on behalf of another company generally cannot justify the cost. also made with a client during the show.
Got to do business. Yep.
Yeah, right. I go to shows mainly because that's marketing for me. Any trade show is a target-rich environment for a consultant.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm there. All right, so let's run our commercial for GSG. And Alan, why don't you say something nice about them while I try to find the thing here?
You know what? And we're going to be some of our topics we have, GSG, this plays right into them. First of all, we are, every day I am just thankful for them in the years that they've spent with us, through the highs, the bad shows, the good shows and stuff. They are great partners.
They're very forgiving on our inability to run the technology.
They are extremely forgiving. And we never want to, and they stay in the background, but there's some people, of course, Mark Soldonik's on here. Liz Beavers has been on with us, but man, behind the scenes, their marketing department that Beth handles has been incredible. Mark Granberry, Jared, yeah.
So we're very appreciative, and thank you so much. And with that,
and they do a phenomenal job. Go to gogsg.com. They have great products. They have some incredible classes coming up. Check that. We're all about education. So yeah,
we're all about education.
We love it.
I
need educated all day.
Smartass slot today.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. So
I need educated all the time. So I got to have it. So.
I need some education.
Education. Yeah.
So they're going to have a big booth at Printing United. It's going to be great. So anyway, So here's our commercial. Thanks, GSG.
Over the last 70 years, GSG has seen many changes in the apparel decorating industry. But one thing that hasn't changed is our dedication to helping our customers discover what's next. As we continue to lead the industry, GSG is here to support your business with industry experts. The latest innovative products, training services, and by delivering the perfect order.
All right. Hey, thanks. So
you're going to be
logging in. So good morning to everybody. Josh is here. Good seeing Josh lately. And Ray says that it's consultants don't do much at the show for industrial. Cindy's here. Good morning, Cindy.
Morning, Cindy. Yeah.
And he'd be all up in that education. And Frank's here with SNS. Good seeing you, Frank.
Yep.
And Todd Downing's here. Good morning, Todd.
How you doing? From our success group.
Hey, so Todd, are you going to Printing United? We'd love to hook up.
Yeah.
All right, so couple things. First off, if you're watching and haven't said hello, please do so. We want to know who you are, where you're watching from. We always like to see that. I know we have a lot of international folks here and that watch, so it's always fun to see, they're phoning in from wherever, so that's kind of fun. And also, don't forget, this show name here is Q&A, right? So we have topics. We don't necessarily have to use those topics. If you've got something that you need to know about that's bugging you, you got a challenge, whatever, throw it into the comments and let's use that. The reason Alan and I have topics is just in case you guys don't say anything, okay? We need to have stuff to talk about, right? So it's really interesting. So it's really good to have interesting things. We want to know what's bugging you or what you need help with, that type of stuff. So please say hello. Please share that you're watching because that helps us with our viewership. And then, and please, give us some questions or comment on what we're talking about also.
Yeah.
So anyway, so thanks. Corey's watching from Guatemala. How do you pronounce it? Gafoto? What is that?
I'm going to say Gafoto. I don't know. GG.
Guatemala. Hey, Corey.
Yeah, Guatemala.
Good seeing you. And then Todd said, "Not this year. Atlanta and myself don't get along." Oh, warrant out for your arrest? What does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Sean's here. He's watching.
Sean, you're going to be at Printing United.
Of course, he lives in Alpharetta. That's like 5 minutes away, right? So,
well, it's Atlanta traffic, so nothing's 5 minutes away. So
that's true. That's true. Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So, without looking, do you remember our first topic?
I have to look. I forget how we put it down. I know the premise, supply chain value. Yeah.
Sure. All right. Supply chain value. Right. So, Alan, you're a supplier, right? I'm kind of a supplier, but supply chain value. What does this mean?
So we're in a digital world, and we all do that. We're all about the digital, and we're fine. And meaning, when it comes to supply chain on there, you can order your goods, your supplies, and everything from anywhere.
That's right.
You go to GSG, go GSG.com, shameless plug there, go GSG.com, go in there, and you can order online, open an account, and order online.
Yeah.
Whether you are in Texas, whether you're in Ohio, whether you are in Cucamonga, Azerbaijan, they will ship there. You can order Easiway products from your local distributor here or from Raw Tech in Australia. Raw Tech will be happy to send it to you. It will take 6 weeks, and there's a freight cost. The question in supply chain value is, we know in America you can order from anywhere. But should you?
Yeah, exactly.
Because what happens after the sale?
Yeah.
And when you're
let's not forget during the sale, right?
Exactly.
From anywhere, is it being picked right? Is it being shipped right? Is there confirmations? Is there a process? Whatever. And a lot of times we can compare that price for that thing with the price of the thing over there, and let's say it's, I don't know, a couple cents cheaper or whatever.
Right.
The reason why you want to spend a little more sometimes is because that company will support you. They have things like, they've got guys like Alan who you can talk to. A lot of people don't have that person that's going to help you through the problem. And the reason why you want to have people like GSG or Easiway or SNS or whoever, right, is because they've got people that can help you with stuff and leave you hanging, right, and can teach you things. And I can tell you, one of my favorite things when I was running shops was I had a really good relationship with two of the best salespeople. Okay, Buck Jolly for NASDAR in Atlanta, and Tom Robinson with Midwest when I was in Milwaukee. Right.
Yep.
These guys knew everything. They supported me. They knew the pressure I was under, and if they didn't know the answer was often, they would find it. They would find the person and bring it back to me, right? And I know that there's that's the reason to use folks like that, right? Yep. And so they would help me with classes. I would have a mini class for the sales or the customer service about ink or whatever. I know in a lot of apparel companies, they'll bring in the samples and show all the latest whatnot, right? And I've seen Stalls do that, right? And Stalls does that with heat transfers. And
sure,
it's just like a really great thing to have that relationship. Can you get things cheaper? Of course you can, right? That doesn't make it better, right? And so there's reasons to use things, right? Here you go. Cindy says, I love that GSG has their own delivery trucks. They come out twice a week. You're getting your product undamaged too, right? That's just great. And Todd says, we run into this with DTF printers. People think they're saving by purchasing from China. Then the support issues start, and they quickly realize that the $3,000 to $5,000 of saving turns into $10,000 loss in downtime. Service is what matters, right? 100%. And it's equipment. It's not just service. It's the warranty. It's an owner's manual. It's people who know the product, and you can call them on the phone, and they'll go, yeah, what you got to do is you got to unbolt that one nut there, and you got to go back, take the panel out, and right there is a little thing, and that's what you look for. if they can't do that over the phone, so you can just fix it yourself, don't bother, man. Because let me tell you, production equipment is going to break. Okay. Yep. Because it's heavy duty industrial. We are putting a lot of pressure on that gizmo to work. And if they don't have the part in a warehouse, and I've had this, and I'm not saying who, I've had this problem, okay, where something breaks and I'm sorry, the stuff's made and we can't get it to you, right? And it's like, you don't understand. I've got this big issue. You're not helping me, right? These are the reasons why we leave companies for other companies, right?
100%.
And so
it is, it's, again, what happens there? Are you looking for someone you can just buy something from? Here in Michigan, we have we have Walmart and Target, and then we have a department store called Meijer. And you know what? Can you go to Meijer? Can you go to Target? Can you go to Walmart? Sure. On there. But you know what? I could order it online from either. I can order from Amazon. Should I, though?
Yeah, right.
Should I do that? When you're buying, I hear people, I just bought a press from, online. I just went on and got it. Why deal with people? Well, what'd you buy? And then they get it going, man, I probably should have got an 8. Who's asking you the questions that you need to know? What's your space?
Well, who's also preventing you from buying it because you're not ready?
Yeah, 100%.
And I know tons of stories where people have had conversations and it's like, you know what? I don't think you're ready for that.
I got the best compliment I've gotten is just here recently, and I'm not going to say who because him, a lot of people know him, but I went up to their shop and all of a sudden the owners called me in the office and they hand me an envelope and it's a gift card to a restaurant in northern Michigan by the cottages, and I know one of the owners has a place there. Yeah. And I said, what is this for? They said, Alan, because since we met you back in 2009, you've not been a salesperson, you've been a partner.
Yeah.
And everything.
That's what you want.
Yeah. And you know what? Do you want someone that's going to sell you something? Do you want a partner? And I need to remember, I'm not a sales guy. I need to be a partner to these people. When they succeed, I succeed.
So if you're watching this right now, okay, let's give some shout outs, okay? Throw in the comments your favorite rep, your favorite company, your favorite story about how somebody changed something for the better or whatever. We want to hear that. And kind of just from your perspective, what do you see? Who is out there making the biggest difference in the world for you in real life, right? Alan and I, we can talk about this stuff forever because we like, I mean, how many people do you think you know in the industry, Alan? I know a gazillion, right? And
a couple,
and we know who the stars are, but I would really love it to hear from you guys, right? So who are you listening to? Who are you getting your advice to? Who is making the biggest difference in your business, right? That would be really cool. All right. So, hey, by the way, Hurley's here. Good seeing you, buddy.
Dave
Eggers is here also. Good seeing you also.
And part of this top came because I'm seeing a shift in supply chain from even some of our dealers and stuff like that, where it's just all online going, why do we even pay people out there? And I'm thinking, it's not all online. That'll handle for a while. But man, this is also opportunity for independents. Check your sources, check the independent suppliers and stuff. Check your distributors. Who is helping you, getting you the best value? And it's value, not best price, value.
So Frank says you can buy direct from an apparel mill, but why put all your cash flow in a container of inventory when you can purchase from an apparel distributor by the piece and have it delivered to you in a couple days? Exactly.
Yeah.
And Ryan says, you rock. Amazing to have him in your backyard. And he probably said that because you're wearing his hat.
Well, that too. And I was going to say that. So you know what? I got this right here in 2000.
What is that? Nobody can see it, Alan.
If I can get it off the wall.
Yeah. This is where we ripped the nail out of the wall, and there goes the drawing.
It's not a nail; it's a sticking thing. Okay. Basically, it was from Printwear magazine. They had a reader of who your best supplier was, and I was Reader's Choice for 1 month.
That's great. That's right.
And
And Kisa says, Bill Warren, who's now retired from GSG, was amazing at this. I want to buy all the things. And I know Kisa always wants to buy all the things because I talk to her all the time. But he always made me step back and realize I didn't need everything.
And you know what? That's a good. Bill Warren was an incredible sales guy for GSG.
Yeah.
So I met Bill and knew that. And that's a guy. You know what? A salesperson will take your money. You want that? Yes. A partner will say, "I can get it for you. Do you really need it?"
Right. Hold on.
What's your end game?
Hold on. So that's good. Herman says, for me, Morgan Young with Discovery Lancer Group, he has taught me so much and continues to with every phone call, everything from equipment to the inks and screen printing process, a wealth of knowledge.
100%.
That's great. I don't know. Morgan could be a guy or a girl. I don't know that person, but sounds awesome. I love that. Thanks for commenting. So who else, guys? I've got a whole bunch of people that I think just do an amazing job. Look who's here. Kitson in the house. Hey there, T-shirt guys and gals. So,
really
says that Morgan's a guy, right? So
what's it? Yeah.
So that's great. That's great. So, here's the thing, and I think it could also go the other way, right? How many times do you hear stories about somebody who bought something or started doing a process or whatever, and the company didn't know what they were doing and didn't back it up, and the warranty wasn't there, and they were trying to get out of something or just wasn't a complete partner, and then it's just you want to beat your head against the wall, right? I've had that happen numerous times, and let me tell you, it's not fun, and especially when there's literally thousands of dollars every day that's going out the door because you can't do something right because something wasn't the way it was supposed to be.
Sure.
It was sold to you that way, right? And that's a big problem. And so there's plenty of instances, and I don't want to have this to be a big bitch fest, so please don't start with that. But, and I think that people who are really good at standing behind stuff, and if they charge a little more, let them charge a little more because we need that in this industry, right? We can have commodity sales, right? Yeah, or we can charge a little more and know everything's backed up and you are doing it right. And if you've got a problem, you got somebody standing there trying to make it work, right? Yep. That's what we need, right? So
I know one of my dealers in Ohio, I'll say it, Joe Sudrovic from Gorilla Joe's.
Yeah, Joe's great.
He told me about a dealer. He said, man, I was having trouble. Their office kept, orders get messed up from time. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
Their sales guy was in a different part of Ohio, drove up there, got the order, pulled it himself, delivered it.
Yeah, that's great.
He said, I will never not buy from him now.
Right. Yeah. Kisa says, I also know if I buy something I didn't have to tell Marshall, there's no way I can tell him I didn't do the homework first.
Yeah.
So Kisa passes the coaching client test for today. Congratulations. Where's my gold star?
Big star right on her forehead. Yes.
Thanks, Kisa. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And I talk about that all the time. I'm like, what's up with that? Why are you doing that? Right. Kisa wanted to buy a trailer, right, to like sell out of, and it was a big deal, and I can do it. But I'm like, wait, I want you to write a business plan. I want you to research, and I want you to figure out how many weeks a year you're going to be using that thing, and what is the insurance, and what is the fuel, and how are you going to do it, and map all that out before you buy the thing, right? And she did the work, right? So I mean, that's something I think a lot. And like I was talking with somebody the other day about they wanted to buy a DTF printer. I'm like, okay, well, explain to me how you're going to use it and what are you going to do and how many prints you're going to make and like all that, right? You don't just buy the thing because everybody's buying them, right? Do the thing, right? And so few people go down that road. You know why, Alan? Because it's hard.
Yeah, it's called work.
It's just easier to write the check. And then
Yeah.
that's why we have so many DTG printers that they're like, how many prints did you do this week on that? 30.
Yeah.
Like, okay, how come you don't learn to sell the thing? Right. And so it's like, you got to really know this stuff. And I think it's really important that we before we buy the new shiny thing, we have the business case for it. Right. Otherwise, don't do it. So,
Yeah.
so Greg says the best value is not the cheapest. It's having the right stuff when you need it, shipped correctly, and that'll stand behind the product and service. Exactly.
And you know what? And Greg knows I've had Greg as a customer, and I've had him not as a customer. And you know, when I had the opportunity to go into Mind's Eye Graphics there and show product, had to have your A game on, because it's never about price with him. You know, and I love, we've quoted it before, when Greg had Mind's Eye, they weren't really a printer. They were a logistics company. They just happened to print a couple hours a day. And it was awesome, because it was about the process, it was about the value, and it was about the partnership.
Yeah. So Josh says, Ray, Greenwood, Mark Sladonic, Lon Winters, Mark Coudray, and GSG have all been invested in my shop and got us to where we are. Just to name a few, definitely never been the smartest in the room. Yeah, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Well, if you're the smartest person around those four, wow.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, that's great. Hey, thank you for that comment, Josh. That's great.
Josh needs to hang out with some people who are smarter than him. I don't know that crew is, wow. We're talking academy guys, all four of them, and those are heavy hitters.
Yeah, those are heavy hitters. All right, cool. All right, so next topic. Don't look, cheater.
I have to.
All right. Shop hygiene. Okay. This is important. Okay. How you do anything is how you do everything. And the reason why I'm throwing this out here is because if you stand in the corner of your shop, right, a lot of your problems exist because of how clean your shop is and the clutter, right? Yeah. So if your shop has a lot of clutter, that's preventing you from working faster and getting things set up and being proactive. If you've got hygiene issues, and what I mean by this is there's ink all over the outside of the buckets. Yep. There's lint everywhere. Your buckets don't have lids. Your whatever, right? Look at your screen room. Does it look like a cow just exploded with emulsion and fingerprints and stuff everywhere, right? Or is it the cleanest room in the whole building, right?
Yeah.
What's going on in your shop related to hygiene can predict how well you're going to do your work, how much work you're going to get out, and all that stuff. And the secret is just to keep the thing clean.
Yeah, 100%.
If you just work clean, you'll never have to clean up because you're just working that way, right? And so, Alan, I think we're both on the same page here, right? Yeah. So, from your perspective, because you go to a lot of companies, right? What do you see? I know when I go to a shop, one of the first things I look at is I look at the employee bathroom, and I look at what's on the press, and if I can see the image on the platen. Those two things tell me a lot about the production management and how they think about things. Because if that employee bathroom isn't clean, I know that their employees don't clean. They don't care about anything. Right. And that tells me a lot. What do you think?
100%. You know what? The hygiene of the shop is going to speak volumes to it. You cannot tell me you care about quality and have it a freaking disaster. I look at things like on the technical side and in the production side, how much fur is your press growing? I look at the rafters. How much lint is up on the rafters? Because that'll go everywhere. They'll go through the walls, into your screen room, and dropping into your ink. And then now, what is left over? Is there ink everywhere? I've gotten ink on me in shops. It's just screen printing. We're gonna. But if I'm having to slither and slide to keep from looking like a color palette, that's a problem, because I wish I sold spot removing chemical, because that's being used all the time. And if I hear that production manager, if you hear that spot gun going all the time, you got a hygiene problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's all about one, value, production, and safety. It is unsafe. When screen printing, the thing everybody makes the most of when we forget is lint. Highly flammable lint.
We're a lint producing industry.
Absolutely.
Okay. There's no way it's not going to happen, right? So how are you controlling that? What are you doing about it? How are you preventing it from seeping into things that you don't want it to seep into? It's a really important part of your process and your standards that you have to have. And if you just let it go and it just runs it by itself, right? You're wasting so much time band-aiding that stuff, right? The reason why you have a pinhole now that you have to use the spot gun to get that little red dot out of the shirt is because of your hygiene.
Or the fingerprint.
Or the fingerprints, or the, whatever, right? The oil, right? And there's just a lot of things, right? Are you using your air compressor hose to blow out the wet screen while you're blowing oil onto your screen?
Yeah.
What can happen, right? And,
by the way, what Marshall's saying is don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, if this whole industry is a cause and effect thing, right?
When I lived
a lot of it starts with how clean you keep stuff. And so if you keep your shop clean, a lot of those problems never happen. So you don't spend any time on it.
I would, I got thinking when I lived on the lake, I would have bonfires in the backyard all the time in the woods there. You know what I use for fire starter? Lint off the dryer.
Screen printing frames?
That too. But I would use the lint from the dryer, from my regular clothes dryer. And then that got me thinking, because the stuff just tenders instantly. And it's better than paper and stuff like that. So that was what I used. And I remember thinking one time going, this stuff is all over shops, in the pipes of their dryers, all on there, on the press, right next to a flash unit goes to 600 to 700 degrees. Right next to a dryer goes to 800 degrees. One spark, and we have seen it. It was a few years ago. We had two major shops catch on fire. One never returned.
Yeah, right.
The other one just started.
I've been in a shop that caught on fire. I was standing right there with somebody had a can of spray tack that they knocked over, and it went down the dryer belt, and like a hand grenade exploded. It caught the lint on the flue on fire. It went up the flue and on the ceiling at 30 miles an hour. Okay, it's the scariest thing I've ever seen. And we could not get to the fire extinguishers fast enough.
Yep.
It was super scary, right? At the time, I was in the art department. I didn't have anything to do with production, but it was like one of these things. This is the reason why we need to get the shop clean, okay? And lesson learned, right? So it's like you got to really take care of this stuff, or it might take care of it for you. Right? So
there was a shop. I got a call. And I may have said this story before. A can of screen opener got knocked either into the dryer or under it.
Yeah.
It explodes, blew out all the windows in the shop, glass everywhere and everything. And they thought the dryer exploded. So they called me on there. And I said, no. I said, if it was that gas dryer exploded, that whole building would be gone. And I said, I told the person, is fire marshal there? He goes, yeah. I go, tell them to check in and around for aerosol cans. And that's what it was.
Yeah.
I was on vacation when that happened, when they called me. But yeah, and that is a hygiene thing. It's like, unreal. Sean.
I learned lint was the best fire starter in the Boy Scouts. Right.
So let's make a bunch of it in your shop, put in a big ball, actually just spread it around. And then let's turn on some heaters to about 900 degrees, couple up around.
What could happen?
Nothing bad could happen in that scenario.
And let's not forget, we've got chemicals and stuff everywhere, right? And,
screen opener's not flammable at all.
Right. I was just at a shop. What's in the goof gun? Acetone.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I'm like, hey, they're using a hand grenade every day. Congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah. So your hygiene if you're not taking time, and then the other part, it's capital equipment, and oh my gosh, Come on. And if you're a manual shop going, yeah, I'm just small, it's just a manual. Those springs, man, that spray tech gets in there and those heads on the manual presses start going up and down, they won't. And when those springs explode, it's dangerous.
Yeah. So, all right. So we're kind of midway. So let's share the Pulse magazine from GSG. So let me get this thing off here. And so this is the current view. Actually, works. Last week we couldn't get it to load, but now it does. So here's the Pulse magazine, right? Holiday 2023. This is the latest issue. So you can go to gogsg.com and get it. And first page, inks, top score, Vortex, Epic Rio mixing, standard colors. They got QR codes, whole article here about using low cure ink and why you should do it. GSG, I think it does a really good job with their sales and stuff, and you can see what's going on. So take a minute, go to gsg.com and get their Pulse magazine. This is pages and pages and pages of stuff that you can order. They got pricing, they got QR codes, they got stuff. Here's Mark teaching you something, right? So they do a really great job. So anyway, so check them out, and any I think they have a if you order from here, there's like a % discount or something.
I thought it was like 10% on the first order.
Yeah, all right there. Orders receive a 1% discount. Right.
1%?
Yeah, it's right here. It says it right here. So anyway, so huge shout out to thank you to GSG for sponsoring our show, and appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. They just do a great job. So,
all right. Without looking, what's the third thing? You looked.
I have to. Because I want to get it right on there. Excuses are opportunities. I have to. That's why I write them down.
Oh, man.
You know what? I'm going to put it on an easel right there where I can just
You should put it on a Post-it note right underneath the camera, and that way nobody will know that you're looking. Right?
Yeah.
All right. Excuses are opportunities, right? So I was somewhere this week. I'm not going to say where, but I was at a shop and I was teaching as I normally do. And one of the things that I kept hearing from their staff was excuses. And so one of the things I talked about with the manager there was this phrase, excuses are opportunities, meaning if you hear excuses from your staff, this is the opportunity that you need to look out for to make a change. A process change, an education change, a personnel change. I mean, there's something you should be doing here because that excuse is telling you that something's wrong. So this is a signal flare that's going up. Anytime you hear an excuse about why something didn't happen correctly, this is an alert. It's an alarm. It's fireworks going off about you need to change something, right? So I just want to throw that out there because I think, a lot of us, especially if we're upper, you're an owner or you're a manager or whatever, we hear excuses constantly about why something didn't work, why it didn't ship, why it didn't print right, why we lost the sale, whatever. Those are all excuses.
Right.
These are opportunities for you to do something differently to have a different outcome, right? So, Alan, what do you think about this?
Well, we see this when we're changing SOPs and in companies. And when you have someone that comes with an excuse, no, we don't do it that way. We do it this way because of this. And I call that kingdom building. And in kingdoms, they have, big walls and moats, and they're trying there to protect themselves, coming up with an excuse. Immediately, it's a red flag because you can't have kingdom building.
Yeah, well, I call that defend the castle.
Defend the castle, same thing.
Defend the castle mentality where I'm going to point my finger back at you.
Yep.
Right. And instead of being a team player, instead of being company centric, we're all about leveraging what I do. And I don't want to teach somebody my job because then they can take my job.
Yeah. And that is a fear and insecurity issue. So, yeah. So that's where when I hear excuses and when I hear myself making excuses, I can't do that because it's like, no, that means either I don't want to or I'm lazy or something else.
Right.
Yeah. Can't blame other people.
Right. So Dean's here. It says, happy Friday. It's nearly October. Where did the time go this year? We were just talking about that.
Talking about that earlier. Yeah.
And Ghost is here. Cold pressed linseed oil entangles quickly, become a bonfire.
I bet. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then he shared something in Swedish, so we don't know what that means. So, hi, by the way.
Results.
So I guess that's his information.
Information, yeah.
13 over 5,000, and I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
so,
I think he pasted something he wasn't sure about.
Hi, by the way, yeah.
Hi.
And then Dean says, bingo, using an excuse and make the necessary changes to make it work. We just added free shipping to 4 states for UX prints. That's the blank t-shirts. So we can make out an offer even more exciting to some. Learn and pivot always. Right?
Always.
Good job. So what do you think the number one excuse is, guys? So in your shop, right, in the comments, list the excuse that your team is telling you, and let's just see if everybody's excuses are the same, right? Here's an excuse that I hear all the time. You ready? I just didn't have time.
Yeah.
I would have done it, but I just didn't have time.
Yep.
What I always say to that is, no, you had time, you just didn't make it a priority.
Yeah.
Right? So
absolutely.
Greg, here you go. But the customer approved it.
Right.
Right. Okay.
I'd love to hear from Charlie as a consultant. What's his excuse?
Yeah, Charlie, what's your number one excuse you hear every day? Right. Here you go. That's how I've always done it.
That's the one that makes my head explode. That's how I've always done it.
You've got concrete between your ears when I hear that. So
when I hear that, that tells me don't confuse me with facts. My mind is made up.
Yeah, that's my favorite Alan Howe phrase that you use. Yeah. Right. So I think
I stole that. That's not original with me. I stole that from.
Yeah, but you say it all the time, and might as well absolutely right. And and Kudre's got his. There's only 3 things that can happen. Thing. Yours is that. Right?
Don't confuse me with facts. My mind is made up. Yeah.
Right. So anyway, I think
the other one I don't say it a lot is, and as a consultant, this is one too. Everything tells me something about that shop, that person. Right. Everything tells me something.
I like that. That.
What's it telling me? Yeah.
Yeah. Charlie says there are any number of excuses, but not having time is the big one.
Right.
Yeah. They got time for all the other stuff, right? They got time to do it over when they didn't do it right, but they don't have time to do it correctly.
Yeah, they have time to redo the whole order, but they don't have time to change your SOPs.
Right. Yeah. So,
do they have time? Do they have time to shut the shop down and lock the doors forever? That's what they need to think of. Do you have time to go out of business?
Oh, there you go. You have time to go out of business. Right?
Yeah.
Good morning. I understand you'll take it out of my pay for being late. I think Brian's just being funny here, not really having an excuse, but
Exactly.
We're not going to take it out of your pay.
Or is he saying, is that what he hears?
Oh, no, I think he's saying,
oh, yeah.
Good morning, here's here late. Don't take it out of his pay, right?
Right. Well, and Brian makes more than we do, so.
So anyway, so good seeing you, Brian. Thanks for joining us today.
Always.
All right. So what other excuses do you have? I hear a lot about people's competition. I hear a lot about how some other idiot will do it cheaper, right? That doesn't mean, to me, that just says you're talking with the wrong clients, right? You've got the wrong clients. There's people who always want the cheap stuff, right? Exactly. But there are people that will pay more. You're just not talking to them.
Yep. There are people that see the value in value.
Yeah. So what's the Warren Buffett quote, right? It's price is what you pay, value is what you get.
Yep. Right? I like that.
All right. So Ghost says priorities when it comes to me and X staff, you don't pay enough. I like the X staff part of that.
Yeah.
X staff.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not the current staff.
And there's a
We're
reason for
gonna
that.
give you, speaking of opportunities, we're going to give you the opportunity to work for somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We're yeah.
Right. That's great. That's great. All right. Without
Can't make
looking.
it to work on time. You know what? We're gonna make that where that's not an issue anymore.
All right. All right. Without looking, what's the last thing?
I don't remember.
You just look.
Oh, I do too. Yeah.
Stay calm and carry on.
Carry on. Be a
So
duck.
I think we're going to be getting in, we're entering Q4. And for some people, this is where they make all their money is Q4, right? We're going to be really overloaded. We've got Black Friday, you've got Christmas, you got holiday orders, you got everything going on. And this is when the dryer breaks. This is when the person quits. This is when the blah, 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 right? I think a lot of problems surface is Murphy's Law, right? You're going to, you just breaded a piece of bread with some peanut butter and it's going to fall on the floor, and of course it goes down peanut butter side down, right?
Yep.
That's what happens, right? That's life. Okay. So here's what I'll tell you is you can react to it, or you can just calmly make a plan, right? And
Yep.
So I was somewhere this week, right? And I had to make a connection, and I got on the flight, my first flight, and we're just sitting there. We're on the plane, not moving from the gate for 45 minutes. And every minute that ticks by, that's another minute you're not going to make your connection.
Yeah. You sat on the plane longer than the flight actually is.
Yeah. It was just a small little flight. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, this is not going to be good. And so what are you going to do? I have no control over that. Right. So this is what I'm really talking about here is there are things that you can control. Right. Yep. I can only control me. I can only control how I react to things.
Yep.
So in my mind, I came up with a plan. This is what I'm going to do, blah, blah, blah. And I just went back to reading my book. Right. And once I got that out of the way, it didn't really bother me. Right. So like the reason I'm bringing this up is that a lot of crazy things happen in our shops. Right. And we have people who refuse to work. We have people that we have to fire. We have people who come in drunk. We've got a client who gives us this bomb that explodes in our face. We've got mechanical problems and shipping problems, and we can't get those the 30 yellow shirts for that order problem. Just keep calm, find out what to do, develop a plan, do what you can, and communicate what's going on with people, and just keep pushing forward. Right, that's the most important thing. And I've been in plenty of places where people are absolutely screaming at each other.
Yep.
And the anxiety and the emotion and stuff is at like DEFCON 77, right? It doesn't need to be that way, right? That's not helping anything, Just what's the next thing? What do we need to do? How do we do it right? Let's keep pushing, right?
Yep.
And so that I really want to just throw that out there today, because Q4 starts Sunday, right? This is where it all happens for a lot of people, right? It's holiday money is where how we get through Q1, right? So, like, what's your thoughts on this, Alan?
Well, and staying calm can be one about sales, about what's going on in life, what's going on in the industry. And sometimes if I don't focus on staying calm, and I made the deal of, be a duck. Ducks on the water look like they're calm as can be. Underneath, they are paddling like nobody's business.
I just used that analogy a couple days ago. That's great.
And if I don't do that, I am my own worst enemy. And Marshall and I were talking, there's some stuff I get thinking about stuff and I overthink it. Well, I was up every 2 hours last night.
Yeah. Right.
And and I had to come this morning and just go, it's out. If it happens, it's out of my control. If something this and all that, why am I even worried about it? We'll just see what happens. It's nothing I can do. It just is.
Right.
And it really has nothing to even do with me. And so then I get mad because I'm my own worst enemy. But we all have that. We get in our own heads and we just go, stay calm, paddle underneath, have a plan, make a direction, go.
Yeah.
And change rudder speeds and move to the left or right as you need to.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times we need to communicate more with people.
Yep.
We need to tell people how long should something take? How do we do this correctly? What's the next thing? Like, does everybody in your company know what to do next without anybody telling them?
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yep.
Okay?
Absolutely.
And if I don't know what to do, how can I look that up without asking anybody?
Yeah.
Can that happen? Where do we go? Right. And so I think that's a lot of processes. That's a lot of standards. That's a lot of communication. That's a lot of training right there rolled up into that. Right. And so what is the next thing we need to do? And then what is the next thing? And, at the end of the day, what should we have finished? And we get behind. A lot of people get behind on their schedule. That's a really common thing. Here's how you get out of it. How long do things take?
Right.
This takes 30 minutes. That takes an hour, whatever. If you know how long things take, how long it takes to set up a job, how long it takes to run the job, the average time in between jobs, right? If you know those numbers, you can look at what's due.
Right.
Think we're going to catch up by next Thursday or whatever it is. Or what happens if we stay a little late, 2 hours every day, or we come in on Saturday, or we come in on Sunday, or whatever? This is how we can catch up earlier, right? And of course, we don't want to add to the problem, right? We don't want to dogpile. And I think a lot of times production just adds orders to the list, right? And because they don't have to do the work, they're just adding another order for Tuesday. But if you can't get out what you have on the schedule already, you're not doing your shop any favors. So you have to put some guardrails in place so that doesn't happen. Right?
Yeah. Absolutely. And there's stuff we've had this year, Marshall. We've talked about, a lot of people are up, some people are down. Let's face it, we've come off of a couple very good years. This one's been a little weird. It's been up, it's been down, depending on some people have been nonstop covered over since January and still are. Awesome. Some are going, oh my gosh. Now we can sit here and say, what are you focusing on stuff? And you might need to look at that. But this has not been as good as last year and the year before. If it is for you, God bless you. Awesome.
Well, also, let's look at this, right? So are we completely slammed with work, but it's no profit work?
Exactly.
Or are we have less numbers that we have to hit, but we're making more margin on that. Right. So we're less busy, but we're more profitable, right? Where are we on that continuum? Or if you were to look at that, right? And like for me, my total sales are down a little bit, but my profit is higher, right? And I'm actually making more money by doing less work. I think that's really important.
Right.
How is that possible? Well, it's engineered that way. So, all right. So we got some comments here. So priorities. Oh, we did that one. Sorry. Nothing should happen now. We're in the middle of planning for spring. That's great. Look how far ahead.
Yeah. All right. Way to go, Gosta.
When is spring in Sweden? Is that like August?
When the fjords melt.
It's just T-shirts. No one's going to die, hopefully, right? And then, Alan, by the way, your new motto is "Duck it."
No, that's not going to be it. Because usually, if I get stressed when I'm by myself, then I am all over the place. I have to physically calm down. I'm very much not like a duck. I'm like that lizard you see that, like, all of a sudden gets scared and can walk on water. I'm just frantic, and I have to really learn to focus and not. I have to grab myself and focus.
So let me tell you, there's a couple of things that have always worked for me. Is I write things down.
Yep.
And when I write it down, it comes out of my head. Right?
Yep. Exactly.
So one thing, like I know you were saying that you were up last night thinking about stuff. So write it down. Write like a little mini plan that you're going to work on tomorrow, and then what'll happen is you'll roll over and go right back to bed.
Well, and that's where I got up and I started thinking, going and doing stuff, and I've done that before. Well, I'll write it out. What's the issue? How am I going to handle this?
Yeah.
But then I got realizing, going, there's nothing I can handle. This has nothing to do with me. Why am I worried? Stop being an idiot, Alan. Hit yourself with a ball peen hammer. Go back to sleep.
Stop being an idiot.
Oh, always. It usually comes down to me being an idiot. But you know what?
We're our own worst enemies.
I was just going to say, we get up here and get to act like we know what we're doing. Let's face it. We are all our own worst enemies. Yeah.
I think I know what I'm doing. I make a sincere effort at it. But you know what? I prioritize things. And a lot of times I don't do some things because it's just not a priority, right? And that really helps me kind of, I'm doing things that are going to be the most benefit most of the time, right?
Right.
And, so anyway, all right. So we got a couple minutes left, and so what do you guys think out there in the world, right? What's bugging you? What do you try to stay calm about? What are you worried about? Is it inventory? Is it the economy? Is it trying to find an employee? Right. I know a lot of people they're still struggling with that. I know a lot of shops, by the way, that are looking at DTF because finding a screen printer is so difficult. They just want to decorate the shirts. And they're really moving, I think, to another process because of that, right? And they just can't find people who have that skill, right? And they're really considering that as an option, right? Something to think about.
Right.
So Dean says, fires a soft butt. Enjoy your weekend. I hope FSU kicks Slowy host Hank's ass.
Ohio. He's in Ohio.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. FSU this week is off. It's our bye week. Our next game is Virginia Tech. Not this weekend, but next. And we'll see if Ohio State wins out.
Yep.
I don't know if they will or not. They got other teams to play. So Greg says every challenge comes with a lesson. Learn from it and move forward. Yes. And if that lesson costs you money, that's tuition. Are you learning that lesson?
Wow. Yeah, exactly.
Right. And
this is, everything tells us something. What's it telling you?
Yeah, right. I don't know. I think sometimes I've paid the tuition multiple times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Did
you see Ray Smith's comment?
I didn't. Where is it?
Up above me.
Why worry? Alfred E. Newman. Hey, Ray. Good seeing you.
Who knows? Do you know who Alfred E. Newman is?
Of course I do.
Mad Magazine.
We're old people. We know that, right?
Well, we make a political reference to him.
Does Mad Magazine, does it even exist anymore?
I don't think so. Ray, you and I just dated ourselves real bad.
Yeah. I always folded the back cover together to see what the image was.
Oh, yeah.
I always thought that was the coolest part of the whole magazine.
Yep.
There's two from Mad Magazine. There's two things I liked was Spy versus Spy.
I was just gonna say Spy versus
and then the back cover. Everything else is whatever. But those are the two things I always looked for. Right.
So when I moved back to Michigan, you guys know that my parents bought a cottage in northern Michigan when I was 10, and my stepbrother and I owned it now, and I just signed it over to him. My nephews were asking me when I moved back to Michigan, they said, all right, Uncle Alan, they go, Dad said, you're the one that remembers when Papa and your mom bought it. I said, yes. And they go, tell us everything. And they said, when we got it, we went there, and in the closet, and I hadn't been up there in years, behind a dresser, there was a sign. She goes, it was yellow, and you could tell because the walls were discolored from where that was. I go, yellow, and I look at him, I go, and it said in real small letters, you had to get real close to read it, says, if you can read this, you're standing too close.
Yeah.
And he goes, how did you remember that? I go, that was a tear out from Mad Magazine. And me and my brother put that up, had to be 12 years old.
Yeah.
And it's been up there all that time. It was hilarious. So
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Greg says Spy versus Spy. Great stuff. Charles says he used to love Mad Magazine. And then, of course, Ghosta gives us the link. I guess.
Oh, okay, cool.
And Mad stopped newsstand in 2018. There you go.
So cool.
Everybody knows this stuff. We don't have to know it. Other people know it.
In Sweden, Mad Magazine is right there. That's awesome. Yeah. And Race just said
Ray says you can subscribe. There you go.
That's awesome.
Who knew?
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Hey, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate that you chose to spend an hour or whatever time you spent here. Thank you so much.
Yep.
And you can always catch it on YouTube or on our podcast if you missed it. And if you are watching that, please drop us a note or leave a comment or whatever. Let us know that that's how you watch it. Yep. I know a lot of people watch this show later because they're doing stuff right now, and that's totally cool. So there you go. Alan, hitting the controls there.
Well, I saw that, and we had to bring that one up. Greg, we must get together. I am excited for that now. That is so great.
Yeah. Charlie be there. He says, see you in Atlanta, right?
All the cool people.
It's all the cool people, right? So it's going to be fun. All right, everyone. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you next week. Have a good weekend. See you.
You too. Have a great week, everyone.